I'm sitting at the head of my own dining table, surrounded by golden balloons and the cheerful buzz of 30 guests celebrating my son Daniel's 35th birthday. The afternoon sunlight streams through the floor-to-ceiling windows of my Greenwich home, catching the crystal champagne flutes and making everything sparkle like something out of a magazine spread. I spent 3 full days preparing for this moment. I hired the best caterer in Connecticut, ordered Daniel's favorite Belgian chocolate cake from that little bakery in Stamford that he's loved since he was 7, arranged white orchids in every room because Vanessa once mentioned she liked them. I'm wearing my beige Armani linen suit, the one that makes me feel elegant without trying too hard, and the pearl necklace Thomas gave me on our 20th anniversary. My hands smooth over the tablecloth as I watch Daniel laugh with his college friends near the bar, and my heart swells with that particular kind of maternal gratitude that never quite goes away, no matter how old your child gets. This is what I've always wanted: family, togetherness. My son happy and successful, my daughter-in-law Vanessa looking stunning in her new Chanel dress, and most importantly, my 11-year-old grandson Oliver here with me, the light of my entire existence since Thomas died 6 years ago. I catch Oliver's eye across the room and smile at him. He's standing near the dessert table in his little blazer and tie, looking so much like his grandfather with those serious green eyes behind his round glasses. But instead of smiling back like he usually does, his expression is strange, tense, almost frightened. I'm about to get up and check on him when I see him weaving through the guests toward me, moving with unusual purpose for a child who's normally so shy at parties. He reaches my chair and leans down as if to give me a hug, which wouldn't be unusual except for the way his small hands are shaking. I feel something being pressed into my palm under the table. A piece of paper, folded small and tight. Oliver's lips are near my ear, and he whispers so quietly I almost don't hear him over the party noise. "Read it now, Grandma, please." Then he pulls back, kisses my cheek like a normal grandson at a normal party, and walks away. But I saw his face up close. I saw real fear in those eyes, the kind of fear that makes my blood run cold, even though I don't understand why. My fingers unfold the paper beneath the white linen tablecloth, hidden from view. The handwriting is Oliver's careful print, the letters slightly shaky like he wrote it in a hurry or under stress. "Grandma, pretend you're feeling sick and leave right now. Don't sign anything. Trust me, please." I read it 3 times, my heart starting to pound so hard I can actually hear it in my ears. What is this? What's happening? I look up and scan the room almost frantically. Daniel is still laughing with his friends. Vanessa is talking to my sister-in-law Patricia near the fireplace, gesturing with her champagne glass, her diamond bracelet catching the light. Everything looks completely normal, beautiful even. But Oliver's note is trembling in my hand, and that fear in his eyes was real. I've learned something in my 58 years on this earth. I've learned that children, especially sensitive children like Oliver, have instincts that adults have trained themselves to ignore. I've learned that when someone you love and trust completely asks for help, you don't question it in the moment. You act. You can ask questions later. I press my hand to my chest and let my face go slack. It's not hard to fake, actually, because my heart really is racing now. I lean back in my chair slightly and let out a small gasp. My neighbor Susan, sitting to my right, immediately notices. "Margaret, are you all right?" "I just feel a bit dizzy suddenly," I say, and my voice comes out shaky enough that it sounds convincing even to my own ears. "Could you help me to the powder room? I think I need some air." Susan's hand is on my elbow immediately, and suddenly half the table is looking at me with concern. I see Daniel turning, his face shifting from laughter to worry in an instant. He starts toward me, but I wave him off with what I hope looks like embarrassed reassurance. "I'm fine, sweetheart. Just a bit of low blood pressure. Don't let me ruin your party. Susan will help me." Vanessa is there too now, her face arranged in concern. But I notice something odd, just for a split second before she composed her expression. I could have sworn I saw annoyance flash across her features. Irritation, like I'm inconveniencing her by being unwell at her husband's party. But then it's gone, replaced by the solicitous daughter-in-law mask she's worn for 8 years. "Should we call a doctor, Margaret? You look very pale." No, I insist, letting Susan guide me toward the door. "I just need some fresh air. 5 minutes and I'll be fine. Please, everyone, Continue enjoying yourselves. I can feel their eyes on my back as Susan walks me through my own house toward the front entrance. We pass the hallway where all those framed photographs hang, 3 decades of family memories. Thomas and me on our wedding day. Daniel as a baby, as a teenager, at his law school graduation. Oliver's school pictures from every year. My throat tightens for reasons that have nothing to do with pretending to be ill. Susan helps me out the front door and to my car, my silver Mercedes parked in the circular driveway. The October air is crisp and cool against my face, and I realize I'm actually trembling now. Not from illness, but from pure confusion and rising dread. "Do you want me to stay with you?" Susan asks, her hand still supporting my elbow. "No, thank you. I just need a moment alone. I get like this sometimes, just overwhelmed. You know how it is since Thomas passed. Big gatherings sometimes just hit me. It's a lie, but it's a believable one." Susan nods sympathetically, squeezes my hand, and heads back inside after making me promise to text her if I need anything. The moment she's gone, I lean against my car, my legs actually weak now, and stare at the front door of my own home like it's suddenly become foreign territory. What is happening in there? What did Oliver save me from? I don't have to wait long for answers. Less than 2 minutes after Susan disappears inside, the side door that leads from the kitchen opens and Oliver comes running out. He's ditched his blazer somewhere, and he's running like he's being chased, his face streaked with tears. He crashes into me and wraps his thin arms around my waist, and I can feel his whole body shaking. "Oliver, sweetheart, what is it? What's wrong?" He's crying too hard to speak at first, just holding on to me like I'm a life raft in a storm. I stroke his hair, my own heart breaking at whatever has terrified him this badly, and wait for him to catch his breath. When he finally pulls back enough to look up at me, his face is blotchy, and his glasses are smudged with tears. "Grandma, they were going to trick you. Mom and Dad, I heard them talking 3 nights ago." The world seems to tilt slightly on its axis. "What do you mean, honey? Trick me how?" Oliver gulps air, trying to steady himself. "I got up to get water from the kitchen. It was really late, like after midnight. I heard voices in Dad's office, so I stopped because I thought maybe I'd get in trouble for being up. I hid in the hallway and listened. He's talking faster now, words tumbling out like he's been holding them in for days, and they're burning him from the inside. Mom was telling Dad that today, at the party, when you were feeling emotional and happy about the birthday, Dad was supposed to give you some papers to sign. She said you'd be so happy and emotional that you'd just sign them without really reading them. She kept saying, she'll be distracted, she won't even look at them closely, she'll just trust you. I feel like I've been punched in the stomach. My hand finds Oliver's shoulder, holding on as much for my own stability as to comfort him. "What kind of papers, Oliver?" "I don't know exactly, but Mom said something about making sure you couldn't give away all your money to charity or get tricked by scammers. She said you were getting forgetful and that they needed to protect you before it was too late." His voice drops to barely a whisper. "But Grandma, you're not forgetful. You remember everything. You help me with my history homework, and you never forget any of the dates or names. You're the smartest person I know. My vision is actually blurring now, but not from illness, from rage, from betrayal so profound I can barely process it. What else did you hear, sweetheart?" "Dad said he didn't know if it was right, that it felt wrong to do it without telling you what the papers really were. But Mom got really mad at him. She said you were controlling and that you'd never let them protect their future if you knew what they were doing. She said something about Dad's lawyer already having everything ready, and that after you signed, they'd be able to make sure their future was secure." Oliver is crying again, harder now. "I wanted to tell you right away, but I was scared. What if I heard wrong? What if I got Dad in trouble for nothing? But then yesterday, I heard Mom on the phone with someone talking about making sure the old woman's money is protected before she loses her mind completely. And I knew I had to warn you. I'm sorry I waited so long, Grandma. I'm so sorry." I pull him close again, my own eyes burning with tears I refuse to let fall yet. Over his head, I stare at my beautiful house, the house I bought with money I earned myself, where I raised my son with love and sacrifice, where I've hosted countless family gatherings and holidays and celebrations. Inside that house right now, my son and daughter-in-law are probably wondering where I am, probably irritated that their plan has been disrupted, probably already recalculating how to get me to sign whatever documents they've prepared. Documents that would do what exactly? Give them power of attorney? Control over my finances? Access to the $12 million I earned by building a marketing consultancy from nothing over 30 years? Access to this house, to my investment properties, to everything Thomas and I built together? My mind is racing now, connecting dots I've been willfully blind to for months. Daniel's increasing distance over the past few years. The way Vanessa always finds excuses to decline my dinner invitations. How my weekly visits with Oliver were gradually reduced to monthly, then bi-weekly. The subtle comments about my age, my living alone, my stubbornness about staying in this big house by myself. I thought it was normal family friction, different personalities, the natural drift that happens as children build their own lives. But it wasn't drift, it was strategy. It was preparation. "Grandma," Oliver's voice is small and scared. "Are you mad at me?" I pull back and cup his face in my hands, looking directly into those green eyes that are so much like Thomas's, it makes my heart ache. "Mad at you? Oliver, you just saved me. You are the bravest, most wonderful boy, and I am so incredibly proud of you." What are we going to do? Good question. What am I going to do? Go back inside and confront them? Demand to see these papers? No, that would be foolish, emotional, reactive. I didn't build a multi-million-dollar business by being reactive. I built it by being strategic, by gathering information before making moves, by understanding my opponents before engaging them. And that's what Daniel and Vanessa are now, I realize with a grief so sharp it's almost physical. They're not my beloved son and daughter-in-law anymore. They're opponents in a game I didn't even know I was playing. "We're going to be smart about this," I tell Oliver, my voice steadier than I feel. "First, you're going to go back inside and act completely normal. Can you do that? Can you pretend everything is fine?" He nods, wiping his face with his sleeve. "I'm good at pretending. I've been pretending I don't know anything for 3 days. The fact that this 11-year-old child has been carrying this burden, pretending normalcy while his own parents plotted against his grandmother, makes me want to scream, but I keep my voice calm. You go back to the party. Stay away from your parents as much as you can. If they ask where you were, tell them you came to check on me and I said I was fine, just needed air. Can you remember that? Yes, I'm going to drive away now. I'll text your dad that I'm not feeling well and going to urgent care, just to get checked out. I'll say, not to worry, it's probably nothing, I'll call later. That will buy me time. Tomorrow, can you pretend you need to stay home from school, stomachache or something? Why? Because tomorrow, I need you to come with me to my lawyer's office. I need you to tell him exactly what you told me. Everything you heard. Can you do that? Oliver nods solemnly. I can do that. I hug him one more time, breathing in the scent of his shampoo, feeling the fragile bones of his shoulders under my hands. This child trusted me enough to risk his parents' anger to save me. That trust is more valuable than all my money combined. I love you, Oliver, more than you know. I love you too, Grandma. He runs back toward the house, and I watch until he's safely inside. Then I get into my Mercedes with hands that are shaking so badly I can barely get the key in the ignition. I sit there for a moment, gripping the steering wheel, trying to process what just happened. My son was going to trick me. My own son, who I held in my arms minutes after he was born, who I nursed through pneumonia when he was 4, who I helped through his father's death, holding him while he sobbed like a child again at 57 years old. That son was planning to deceive me into signing documents that would somehow give him control over my life, my money, my autonomy. And Vanessa, God, Vanessa. How long has she been planning this? How many conversations has she had with Daniel, slowly poisoning him against me, planting seeds of doubt about my mental capacity, building a narrative where I'm the problem, the controlling mother, the aging woman who can't manage her own affairs? I pull out my phone and text Daniel with fingers that feel numb. Sweetheart, so sorry to leave early, feeling quite unwell, heading to urgent care to get checked. Don't let this ruin your party. Probably just low blood pressure. We'll call later. Love you. The response comes within seconds. Mom, do you want me to come with you? I can leave right now. I stare at those words. So caring, so concerned. Would he really come? Or is this just more performance? More of the loving son act while behind the scenes he's conspiring with his wife to steal my independence? No, no. Stay and enjoy your party. I'll be fine. It's your day. Okay. Please keep me updated. Love you too. I pull out of my driveway and head toward town, but not to urgent care. I drive to my bank instead, my mind already making lists. Tomorrow morning, first thing, I'll call Harold Brennan, the attorney Thomas and I used for 20 years. I'll have Oliver repeat his story, and I'll ask Harold what kinds of documents Daniel and Vanessa might have prepared. Power of attorney? Some kind of conservatorship claim? Whatever it is, I need to know. I need to understand exactly what I just escaped. But more than that, I need to know the full scope of their plan, because this wasn't a spur-of-the-moment thing. You don't prepare legal documents overnight. This has been in the works for weeks, maybe months, which means there's more to this story than what Oliver overheard in one midnight conversation. I park in the bank parking lot and sit there as the afternoon light fades, watching other people go about their normal Saturday errands. A young mother with 2 small children, an elderly couple holding hands, a teenage boy washing his car, all of them living their normal lives while mine has just shattered into pieces. My phone buzzes with a text from Susan. Feeling better? Do you need anything? I text back that I'm fine, just getting checked out to be safe. Another lie. I'm getting very good at lying, it seems, just like my son. The truly devastating part, the part that makes me want to curl up and sob, is that I gave Daniel everything. Not just money, though God knows I gave him plenty of that. I gave him $300,000 to open his own law practice 4 years ago. I gave him the down payment for his house, $450,000, as a gift when Oliver was born. I never asked for repayment, never held it over his head, never used it as leverage. It was love, pure maternal love from a woman who worked her entire life to build something she could share with her child. And this is how he repays me, by trying to trick me into signing away my autonomy, by letting his wife convince him that I'm some kind of burden to be managed rather than a mother to be honored. A sob breaks free before I can stop it, and then another. I cry there in my car in the bank parking lot, crying for the son I thought I had, for the trust that's been shattered, for the family I thought we were. I cry for Thomas, who isn't here to help me navigate this nightmare. I cry for Oliver, who had to carry this terrible secret alone. But mostly, I cry for myself, for the fool I've been, for all the signs I missed, for all the times I made excuses for Daniel's distance, for Vanessa's coldness, for the gradual erosion of our relationship that I attributed to normal life changes rather than calculated manipulation. When the tears finally stop, I look at myself in the rearview mirror. My makeup is ruined. My eyes are red and swollen. I look every one of my 58 years and then some. But I'm not broken. Hurt, yes. Devastated, absolutely. But not broken. I built a business from nothing. I survived the death of my husband. I raised a child alone after Thomas died. I am Margaret Thornwood, and I did not get to where I am by being weak or foolish or easily defeated. If Daniel and Vanessa want a war, they'll get one. But it won't be the war they're expecting. It won't be emotional outbursts and family drama. It will be strategic, calculated, and absolutely devastating. Because I have something they clearly forgot about in their scheming. I have resources, I have intelligence, I have decades of business experience in outmaneuvering people who underestimated me. And most importantly, I have Oliver, a brave, loyal, honest child who chose integrity over family loyalty, who chose truth over comfort. I start the car again and head home, but not to Greenwich. I head to my apartment in Manhattan, the one I kept after selling my company, the one Daniel doesn't even remember I have. I'll stay there tonight. Tomorrow I'll call Harold. I'll start gathering information. I'll build my case. And then, when I have all the facts, when I understand exactly what they were trying to do, I'll decide how to respond. But one thing is certain. My son and daughter-in-law just made the biggest mistake of their lives. They forgot who I am, and I'm going to remind them. I don't sleep that night in my Manhattan apartment. I lie in the guest bedroom staring at the ceiling, watching the city lights filter through the curtains, and I let myself remember. I let myself trace back through the years to figure out where this all went wrong, where the son I raised became someone I don't recognize. Thomas died 6 years ago on a Tuesday morning in March. He was 57 years old, vital and healthy one moment, gone the next. Massive heart attack while getting ready for work. I found him collapsed in our bathroom, and by the time the paramedics arrived, he was already gone. The doctor said he probably didn't feel much pain, that it was quick, but I've never believed that. How could leaving behind 32 years of marriage, a son, a grandson, an entire life be anything but painful? Those first months after his death nearly destroyed me. I couldn't eat, couldn't sleep, would wake up in the middle of the night forgetting he was gone, reaching for him in our bed and finding only cold sheets. Daniel moved into my guest room for 3 months. He'd sleep there during the week and go home to Vanessa and 3-year-old Oliver on weekends. He held my hand during the funeral, made sure I ate at least 1 meal a day, handled all the paperwork and estate matters because I couldn't focus on anything. I thought that tragedy brought us closer than we'd ever been. My boy, my only child, stepping up to take care of his mother the way Thomas would have wanted. I leaned on him, trusted him completely. And when he finally moved back home with his family, I missed him desperately, but understood. He had his own life, his own family to care for. But we stayed close, or at least I thought we did. Weekly dinners at my house or his. Long phone calls where he'd tell me about his cases at the firm where he worked. Oliver spending every other weekend with me. Those precious hours teaching him to play chess the way Thomas taught Daniel. Reading him the same books I'd read to his father. Then, 4 years ago, Daniel told me he wanted to open his own practice. He'd been working at a corporate firm for 8 years, making good money, but feeling unfulfilled. He wanted to do plaintiff work, help people who'd been wronged by big companies. It was noble, idealistic, very much like the boy I'd raised. But starting a firm required capital, office space, equipment, staff, operating costs for at least the first year. "I'll take out a business loan," he told me over dinner at my house. Vanessa was there too, sitting quietly, letting Daniel make his pitch. "I've done all the projections. I can make this work." I didn't hesitate. "How much do you need?" He looked uncomfortable. "Mom, I can't ask you for money." "You're not asking. I'm offering. Thomas would want this. He'd want to see you following your passion." That's when Vanessa spoke up for the first time. "It's very generous, Margaret, but we couldn't possibly accept. It wouldn't be appropriate." I remember being slightly surprised by her refusal, but also touched. She had pride. I respected that. "It's not a gift," I said, working it out in my mind as I spoke. "It's an investment, a loan. Daniel can pay me back once the practice is profitable." Daniel's face lit up. "Are you serious?" "Completely serious. How much do you need?" $300,000 would cover everything. Office lease, equipment, salary for a paralegal and receptionist, operating costs for the first year. I wrote the check the next day. $300,000 from the business I'd built with my own hands, my own intelligence, my own relentless work ethic. I'd started with nothing. Grew up in a middle-class family in Ohio, worked my way through college waiting tables, put myself through MBA program at night while working full-time. Built my marketing consultancy one client at a time over 30 years until I sold it for $12 million at 52. That money represented decades of sacrifice, of missing Daniel's school plays because I was working late to land a new client, of Thomas picking up the slack at home because I was traveling for business, of proving myself over and over in rooms full of men who thought a woman couldn't possibly understand corporate strategy. And I gave $300,000 of it to my son without a second thought because I loved him, because I wanted to see him succeed. Because what's the point of building wealth if you can't share it with the people you love most? The practice did well. Within 2 years, Daniel was turning a profit, taking on major cases against pharmaceutical companies, corporate polluters, employers who'd wronged their workers. I was so proud of him. He was doing exactly what he'd always wanted to do, making a real difference in people's lives. Then 3 years ago, he and Vanessa started house hunting. They'd been renting a nice townhouse in Stamford, but Vanessa wanted something bigger, something in a better school district for Oliver. I understood. Every parent wants to give their children the best. But Greenwich real estate is expensive, obscenely expensive. They found a beautiful colonial on 2 acres, but the asking price was $2.1 million. Even with Daniel's practice doing well, that kind of mortgage was daunting. "We're going to make an offer at 1.9, Daniel told me over the phone. "It needs some work, so hopefully they'll accept lower." I thought about it for maybe 10 minutes. Then I called him back. "What if I gave you the down payment as a gift for Oliver's 8th birthday?" "Mom, no, that's too much. It's $450,000 for 20% down. I can afford it. I want to do it. I can't let you do that. Daniel, please, let me help. Your father and I always dreamed of having enough money to really help you when you needed it." This is what he would have wanted. There was a long silence on the phone. Then I heard Vanessa's voice in the background, muffled, saying something I couldn't make out. When Daniel came back on, his voice was tight. "We need to think about it. Can I call you back?" He called back 3 days later and accepted. But something had shifted. I couldn't put my finger on it, but the warmth in his voice was different, more formal, more distant. I told myself I was imagining things, that he was just stressed about the move, about taking on such a big mortgage even with my help. I went to the closing, wrote the check, hugged them both, and told them how happy I was for their new chapter. But after they moved in, things changed. The weekly dinners became bi-weekly, then monthly. The phone calls got shorter. When I'd call Daniel at work, his assistant would say he was in a meeting, and he'd call me back, but often he wouldn't until the next day. My weekends with Oliver, which had been sacred, started getting canceled. Vanessa would call and say Oliver had a play date, or a birthday party, or too much homework. I made excuses for it all. They were busy with the new house. Oliver was getting older, had more activities and friends. Daniel's practice was growing, taking more of his time. It was natural, normal, the way families evolve as children grow up and build their own lives. But looking back now, lying here in my Manhattan apartment with my grandson's warning echoing in my head, I see it differently. Every canceled visit, every shortened phone call, every declined dinner invitation wasn't natural drift. It was strategy. It was Vanessa slowly, systematically separating Daniel from me, building a wall between mother and son brick by brick, so gradually I didn't notice until the wall was too high to see over. About 2 years ago, I made what Vanessa apparently considered a major transgression. Oliver's school, a prestigious private academy in Greenwich, was having a fundraiser for a new science wing. I'd always believed in education, had donated to the school before. But this time, I wanted to do something special for Oliver. I wanted him to see his grandmother's name on a plaque in the building where he'd spend the next 7 years learning. So I donated $50,000 in Oliver's name without asking Daniel and Vanessa first. The thank you letter from the school went to their house. Vanessa called me that evening, her voice so cold it could have frozen the phone line. "Margaret, we need to talk about boundaries." "I'm sorry?" "You donated $50,000 to Oliver's school without consulting us, without even mentioning it. It was meant to be a surprise. I thought you'd be pleased." "Pleased? You went behind our backs and made a major financial decision involving our son without our permission. That's not appropriate." I was stunned. I was trying to do something nice, for Oliver, for the school. It's not about being nice. It's about respect. Daniel and I are Oliver's parents. You don't make decisions about him without consulting us first. Daniel got on the phone then, his voice placating, trying to smooth things over. "Mom, we appreciate the generosity. We really do. But Vanessa's right. You should have asked us first." I apologized, profusely, said I understood and it wouldn't happen again. But I was confused and hurt. How could wanting to support my grandson's education be wrong? How could generosity be a transgression? Now I understand. It wasn't about boundaries or respect. It was about control. About Vanessa establishing a narrative where I was the interfering, overstepping grandmother who didn't respect parental authority. Building her case. Laying groundwork. After that incident, things got even more distant. I'd invite them for Sunday dinner and get excuses. Work commitments. Oliver's activities. Vanessa not feeling well. I started to feel like I was begging for time with my own family. And the comments started. Little things, so subtle I almost didn't notice. Vanessa mentioning how big my house was for just one person. Daniel suggesting maybe I should think about downsizing, moving somewhere more manageable. Questions about whether I was taking my vitamins, whether I was remembering to pay bills on time, whether living alone was really healthy for someone my age. I'm 58 years old. I run 5 miles 3 times a week. I serve on 2 nonprofit boards. I manage my own investment portfolio. I'm sharper now than I was at 40, but they were planting seeds, making me seem fragile, forgetful, declining. Last month, Daniel suggested I see a doctor for a general checkup just to make sure everything's okay. When I asked why, he said I'd told him the same story about my college roommate twice in 1 week. I hadn't. I'm absolutely certain I hadn't. But he insisted I had, and his concern seemed so genuine that I almost believed him. Almost. Now I see it for what it was. Gaslighting. Creating a false narrative of cognitive decline that they could use to justify taking control of my finances. How many other times did they plant false memories? How many times did Vanessa tell her friends, her family, maybe even my own relatives, that poor Margaret was getting confused and forgetful? The betrayal is so deep I can barely breathe thinking about it. This wasn't a sudden decision. This was years of careful planning, years of manipulation. And my son, my precious boy who I loved more than my own life, went along with it, let his wife turn him against me. Or maybe he didn't need much convincing. Maybe he'd always resented my success, my independence, my money. Maybe he'd been waiting for his inheritance all along, and Vanessa just gave him permission to go after it early. I get up from the bed as the sun starts to rise over Manhattan. I make coffee in the small kitchen and stand at the window watching the city wake up. I've made my decision. I'm not going to cry anymore. I'm not going to torture myself with questions about where I went wrong or how I could have prevented this. I'm going to fight back. Strategically, intelligently, the way I built my business, the way I've approached every major challenge in my life. And the first step is information. I need to know exactly what they were planning, what those documents said, what they intended to do with control of my assets once they had it. I pick up my phone and call Harold Brennan's office. It's barely 7 in the morning, but I know his voicemail will be on. Harold, it's Margaret Thornwood. I need to see you first thing Monday morning. It's urgent, family matter. I'll have my grandson with me. Please call me back to confirm. Then I text Oliver on the phone I bought him last year, the one Vanessa doesn't monitor as closely as his main phone. Good morning, sweetheart. Are you okay? The response comes quickly. He must have been waiting. I'm okay. Mom and Dad asked me a lot of questions about why I ran out to check on you. I said I was worried. They seemed to believe me. You're very brave. Can you fake a stomach ache tomorrow morning? Tell your mom you need to stay home from school? Yes. I'll pick you up at 9. Tell her your grandmother is taking you to the doctor. We're actually going to see my lawyer. Is that okay? Yes, Grandma? What, honey? I'm scared. Me too. But we're going to be okay. I promise. I set down the phone and finish my coffee as the sun climbs higher. I'm scared too. Terrified, actually. But fear has never stopped me before. And it won't stop me now. Monday morning arrives cold and gray, the kind of October day that feels more like November. I pick up Oliver at exactly 9 o'clock from the house I helped buy for him. Vanessa answers the door in yoga pants and a cashmere sweater that probably cost more than most people's monthly rent. Her hair is perfectly styled, makeup flawless, even at this early hour. She gives me a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. Margaret, thank you so much for taking him to the doctor. I have a client meeting at 10 and Daniel's in court all day. Of course, that's what grandmothers are for. Oliver appears behind her, looking appropriately miserable with his hand on his stomach. He's committed to the performance. I feel a surge of pride mixed with sadness that this child has to lie to his own mother to protect me. Feel better, baby, Vanessa says, kissing the top of his head. Then to me, call me after the appointment and let me know what the doctor says? Absolutely. We drive in silence until we're well away from the house. Then Oliver speaks, his voice small. I don't like lying to her. I know, sweetheart. I don't like it either. But sometimes we have to do uncomfortable things to protect ourselves and the people we love. Is that what you're doing? Protecting yourself? Yes. And protecting you too. And maybe even protecting your father from making a terrible mistake. Harold Brennan's office is in downtown Greenwich, in one of those old brick buildings that have been there since the town was founded. Harold himself is 72, with silver hair and sharp blue eyes that miss nothing. He's been practicing law for 45 years, and Thomas trusted him completely. So do I. He meets us in his conference room, which smells like old books and lemon furniture polish. There's coffee for me, hot chocolate for Oliver. Harold shakes Oliver's hand like he's an adult, which I appreciate. This boy has earned that respect. Oliver, your grandmother tells me you have some information that concerns her. Can you tell me exactly what you heard? Oliver takes a deep breath and repeats the story he told me in the driveway. Harold takes notes on a legal pad, stopping occasionally to ask clarifying questions. What day was it? What time exactly? Where were you standing? What were the exact words you heard? He's gentle but thorough, and Oliver answers every question clearly. When Oliver finishes, Harold sits back in his chair and looks at me with an expression I can't quite read. Margaret, do you have any idea what kind of documents they might have prepared? That's what I'm hoping you can tell me. Harold taps his pen against his notepad. Based on what Oliver heard, my guess would be one of two things. Either a power of attorney giving Daniel control over your financial affairs, or possibly the beginning of a conservatorship proceeding where they'd claim you're mentally incapacitated and unable to manage your own affairs. The words hit me like physical blows. A conservatorship? Like Britney Spears? Similar concept, though the legal framework varies by state. In Connecticut, it's called a conservatorship of the estate. They'd need to prove to a court that you're unable to manage your financial affairs due to mental incapacity. But that's a lengthy legal process requiring medical evaluations and court hearings. Much easier would be to get you to sign a power of attorney voluntarily, which is what they were planning to do at the party. Exactly. If you'd signed a broad power of attorney while emotional and distracted, they'd have immediate access to your accounts, your properties, everything. And depending on how it was written, it might be very difficult to revoke. I feel sick. Can you find out if Daniel's lawyer actually prepared such documents? Harold grimaces. Not easily. Attorney-client privilege would protect that information, but I can make some discreet inquiries. Daniel works at Whitmore and Associates now, correct? His own practice? Yes. Has for 4 years. And who would he have used for something like this? He wouldn't do his own legal work for a family matter. I think about it. Robert Chen. They went to law school together. Robert specializes in estate planning and elder law. Harold writes down the name. Let me see what I can find out. In the meantime, I need you to do several things immediately. First, I want you to see your personal physician and get a complete cognitive evaluation. Full neurological workup, memory tests, the whole thing. We need documentation that you're of sound mind. I'm completely sound. I've never been sharper. I believe you, but we need proof. Official medical proof. If this goes to court, we need ammunition. You think it will go to court? I think you need to be prepared for every possibility. Second, I want you to change all your passwords. Bank accounts, investment accounts, email, everything. Do it today. Third, pull your credit report and make sure there haven't been any unauthorized accounts opened in your name. The paranoia feels overwhelming, but I nod. What else? How much access does Daniel currently have to your finances? None. Everything is in my name only. Thomas and I had joint accounts, but after he died, I consolidated everything into individual accounts. Good. But does Daniel have keys to your house? I freeze. Yes, he's had keys since he was 16. Change your locks. Today. Harold, that seems extreme. Margaret. He leans forward, his expression serious. Your son and daughter-in-law were planning to trick you into signing away control of your assets. That's not just unethical. Depending on how they did it, it could be criminal fraud, elder abuse. If they're willing to do that, what else are they willing to do? The room feels too small suddenly. Oliver's hand finds mine under the table. There's something else, Harold says carefully. I think we should hire a private investigator. For what? To find out what Vanessa and Daniel have been saying about you. To whom? Have they been building a case with your family, your friends, that you're declining mentally? Have they been consulting with doctors about having you evaluated? Are there financial motivations we don't know about? The more information we have, the better prepared we'll be. I think about Vanessa's expensive clothes, her constant redecorating, her luxury SUV that gets replaced every 2 years. I think about the comments about my house being too big, about me living alone, about my supposed forgetfulness. Do it, I say. Hire the investigator. I want to know everything. Harold nods. I know someone excellent, former FBI, discreet. I'll have him call you this afternoon. We spend another hour going over details. Harold prepares a document for me to sign, engaging his services and authorizing the investigation. He gives me the name of a doctor who can do the cognitive evaluation quickly. He writes down step-by-step instructions for changing passwords and pulling credit reports. When we finally leave, my head is spinning. Oliver is quiet in the car, processing everything he heard. Grandma, are you going to be okay? Yes, honey, I promise. Are Mom and Dad going to get in trouble? The question breaks my heart. I don't know yet. That depends on a lot of things. I don't want Dad to go to jail. Oh, sweetheart. I pull over into a parking lot and turn to face him. Your dad made some bad choices, but I don't think he's a bad person. I think he's confused and being influenced by your mother, but I can't let them hurt me. Do you understand? Oliver nods, tears streaming down his face. I understand. But I don't want our family to be broken. It's already broken, honey. We're just acknowledging it now. But maybe, if we're lucky and your father is willing to really look at what he's done, maybe we can fix it. Differently than it was before, but still a family. I drive Oliver back to his house. Vanessa's car is gone, probably at her client meeting. I walk him to the door and hug him tight. You did the right thing, I whisper. Never doubt that. Will I see you soon? Very soon. I love you more than anything in this world. I love you too, Grandma. I watch until he's safely inside, then drive to my bank. I sit with my personal banker, a woman named Jennifer who's handled my accounts for 10 years, and explain that I need to add extra security measures. Verbal passwords for any phone transactions, alerts for any transfers over $10,000. Jennifer doesn't ask questions, just nods and makes the changes. Next, I go to my doctor's office. Dr. Patricia Moss has been my physician for 15 years. She's 55, brilliant, and refreshingly direct. I explain what's happening without going into too much detail. I need a complete cognitive evaluation, full neurological workup, memory tests, everything that would demonstrate I'm of completely sound mind. Patricia's eyebrows rise. Margaret, in all the years I've known you, I've never seen any indication of cognitive decline. Your mind is sharp as ever. I know that, but I need documentation, official documentation. She studies me for a moment, then nods. I'll schedule you with Dr. Raymond Chen, our best neurologist. He can do a full battery of tests. Mini mental state exam, Montreal cognitive assessment, memory and executive function tests. It'll take a few hours, but we can probably get you in this week. Today. I need it today. Margaret, please, Patricia, this is urgent. She sees something in my face that makes her pick up the phone. 20 minutes later, I'm scheduled for 2 o'clock that afternoon with Dr. Chen. I use the time before the appointment to go home and start changing locks. I call a locksmith who promises to come tomorrow. Then I sit at my computer and begin the tedious process of changing every password. Banking, investment accounts, email, credit cards, social media, everything. While I'm doing this, my phone rings. Unknown number. Mrs. Thornwood? This is Marcus Devane. Harold Brennan asked me to call you. The private investigator. His voice is deep and professional, with a slight southern accent. Thank you for calling so quickly. Harold said this was urgent. Can you tell me what you need? I explain the situation in broad strokes. Marcus listens without interrupting, and I can hear him taking notes. I'll need some basic information from you, he says when I finish. Names, addresses, phone numbers, social media accounts if you know them. Names of friends, family members, business associates, anyone who might have information. How long will this take? Depends on what I find. Basic social media and public records check, I can have preliminary results in 48 hours. Deeper investigation could be a week or two. I'll start with the obvious stuff first. Financial records if I can access them legally. Social media posts. Conversations with neighbors, friends. I'm good at getting people to talk without knowing they're being investigated. How much is this going to cost? My retainer is $10,000. That covers the first 40 hours of work. If it goes beyond that, we can discuss additional fees. $10,000 to investigate my own son. The thought makes me want to vomit. But I give Marcus my credit card information anyway. The cognitive evaluation with Dr. Chen takes 3 hours. He's thorough and professional, putting me through test after test, remembering lists of words, drawing clock faces, solving puzzles, answering questions about current events, history, mathematics. By the end, I'm exhausted, but confident. Mrs. Thornwood, Dr. Chen says, reviewing his notes, you scored in the 98th percentile for your age group on every measure. Your cognitive function is exceptional, better than most people 20 years younger. Can you put that in writing? Of course, I'll have a full report prepared by end of business tomorrow. But I can tell you right now, there's absolutely no indication of any cognitive decline, dementia, or impairment of any kind. I could cry with relief. Instead, I thank him professionally and leave. That evening, I'm back in my Manhattan apartment when my phone rings. Daniel. Hey, Mom, just checking in. How are you feeling after Saturday? His voice is so normal, so concerned. Like he's actually a caring son and not someone who was planning to steal my autonomy. Much better, thank you. Just a blood pressure issue. Nothing serious. Good. I was worried. You left so suddenly. I didn't want to ruin your party. You could never ruin anything, Mom. The lie is so smooth I almost believe it myself. How was the rest of the celebration? It was great. Everyone missed you, though. Susan kept asking if you were okay. That's sweet of her. I'll call her tomorrow. There's a pause. Then Daniel says, Mom, I was thinking, maybe we should schedule that appointment with the doctor I mentioned? Just a general checkup? I've been worried about you living alone in that big house. My hand tightens on the phone. Actually, I just had a complete physical today. Full workup. Dr. Moss says I'm in perfect health. Another pause. Longer this time. Oh, that's great. That's really great. Yes. Clean bill of health. Cognitive function, physical health, everything. She said I'm in better shape than most people 20 years younger. Well, that's wonderful news. His voice sounds strained now. I'm really happy to hear that. Are you, Daniel? Are you really happy to hear that your mother is healthy and competent? Silence, heavy and loaded. What kind of question is that? Just wondering. You've seemed so concerned about my mental state lately, almost like you were hoping to find something wrong. Mom, that's not fair. I'm concerned because I care about you. Right, because you care. I can't keep the edge out of my voice. Tell me something, Daniel. If I had signed some papers at your party while I was emotional and distracted, what exactly would those papers have been? The silence that follows is deafening. I can actually hear him breathing. I don't know what you're talking about. Don't you? No documents prepared? No plans to have me sign anything? Mom, I really don't know what you mean. Are you feeling okay? This sounds a little paranoid. And there it is, gaslighting, making me sound unstable even as I confront him about his own deception. I'm feeling perfectly clear, Daniel. Clearer than I've been in years, actually. And I want you to know something. I've changed all my passwords, added extra security to all my accounts. I'm changing my locks tomorrow. And I've retained legal counsel. Legal counsel? For what? To protect myself and my assets from anyone who might try to take advantage of me. Mom, what is going on? You're scaring me. Good. Maybe you should be scared. Maybe you should think very carefully about the choices you've been making and who's been influencing those choices. Are you talking about Vanessa? Is this about Vanessa? This is about you, Daniel. About the man you've become. Or rather, the man you've let yourself become. I don't understand what's happening right now. Then maybe you should spend some time thinking about it, alone, without your wife whispering in your ear. I hang up before he can respond. My hands are shaking, but not from fear, from anger, from the satisfaction of finally confronting him, even obliquely. The phone rings again immediately. Daniel. I don't answer. He calls 3 more times, then Vanessa calls. I don't answer that either. Finally, a text from Daniel. Mom, please talk to me. I don't know what's wrong, but we can fix this. Please. I turn off my phone and pour myself a glass of wine. My first drink since this whole nightmare started. I sit by the window overlooking the city and let myself feel everything I've been holding back. The rage, the grief, the betrayal, but also something else, something harder and colder. Determination. 2 days later, Marcus Devane calls with his preliminary findings. What he tells me turns my blood to ice. Mrs. Thornwood, I've found some concerning information. Your daughter-in-law has been extremely active on social media in a private Facebook group for caregivers of parents with dementia. She's been posting for almost 2 years about her concerns regarding her husband's mother, who she claims is showing signs of cognitive decline. What kind of posts? Asking for advice on how to approach the subject, describing incidents where you allegedly repeated yourself or forgot conversations, talking about her fears that you'll be taken advantage of by scammers, building a whole narrative of a woman in mental decline. But none of it is true. I know that. But she's created a documented history of concern. If this went to court, she'd have hundreds of posts showing she's been worried about your mental state for years. It's very calculated. What else? Vanessa has been having an affair for approximately 8 months. Man named Derek Shaw, her business partner. They've been looking at commercial real estate for a new design and construction firm. Price range around $800,000. They don't have that kind of capital. So Oliver was right about everything. The affair, the need for money, all of it. There's more, Marcus continues. I spoke with several of your relatives and family friends. Very casual conversations. Just mentioned I was doing a background check for an insurance policy. Your sister-in-law Patricia mentioned that Vanessa had expressed concern to her about your memory several months ago. Your cousin Ellen said the same thing. They've been laying groundwork, Mrs. Thornwood, creating witnesses who would testify that there were concerns about your mental competence. Can you get me copies of everything? The Facebook posts, documentation of the affair, all of it? Already preparing a full report. You'll have it by tomorrow. Thank you, Marcus. Mrs. Thornwood? One more thing. I did some digging into your son's law practice finances. He's doing well, but he has significant debt. The business loan for starting the practice, the mortgage on the house even with your down payment, private school tuition for Oliver. He's not struggling, but he's not liquid. If Vanessa is pushing to start this new business with her boyfriend, she'd need access to serious capital fast. After I hang up, I sit in my apartment staring at Marcus's preliminary email report. Photos of Vanessa and Derek entering hotels. Screenshots of Facebook posts describing my supposed decline. Financial records showing Daniel's debt load. This isn't just betrayal anymore. This is a calculated, multi-year conspiracy. And my son is either a willing participant or the most manipulated man on earth. I forward everything to Harold with a simple message. We need to meet. Tomorrow. This is worse than I thought. His response comes within minutes. My office, 9 a.m. And Margaret? I'm sorry. I know this must be devastating. Devastating doesn't begin to cover it. But I'm done being devastated. I'm done crying and questioning myself and wondering where I went wrong. Tomorrow, we start fighting back. Harold's conference room feels different this time. Colder, more serious. Marcus Devane is here in person. A tall black man in his 50s with gray at his temples and the kind of eyes that see everything. He spreads documents across the table like evidence at a crime scene, which I suppose is exactly what this is. Mrs. Thornwood, I want to show you something that changes the entire picture. Marcus pulls out a folder and opens it. I obtained phone records for Vanessa Thornwood through legal means. Over the past 6 months, she's had over 200 calls with Robert Chen, your son's law school friend, who specializes in elder law. My stomach drops. 200 calls? Some lasting over an hour, and here's where it gets interesting. He pulls out another document. I spoke with a paralegal at Robert Chen's office. Very chatty woman. She mentioned quite casually that Mr. Chen has been working on a conservatorship case that's been particularly time-consuming. When I asked what made it so complex, she said the family was trying to build a case for cognitive decline in a woman who appeared perfectly healthy on the surface. Harold leans forward. Did she name names? No. Attorney-client privilege. But the timeline matches perfectly. The paralegal said they'd been working on it for about 4 months, gathering evidence, preparing medical evaluations, documenting incidents of alleged mental incompetence. 4 months. They've been actively building a legal case against me for 4 months. There's more, Marcus continues. I found this in Vanessa's email. She's been sloppy about security. He slides a printed email across the table. This is from Vanessa to Derek Shaw, dated 3 weeks ago. I read it, and the words blur in front of my eyes. Derek spoke to Robert again today. He says we need at least 2 more documented incidents of Margaret's confusion before we can file. I'm working on it. Had her over for dinner last week and asked her about her college roommate twice in the same hour. Then told Daniel she'd repeated herself. He's finally starting to see it. Also planted some concerns with her sister-in-law Patricia at the charity gala. Everyone's very worried about poor Margaret living alone in that big house. Robert thinks we can file by December and have control by February. That gives us plenty of time to secure the construction loan before spring. The property on Harbor Road won't wait forever. I love you. This will all be worth it. V. The room is silent. I read it again and again. The casual cruelty of it, the calculated manipulation, the timeline that ends with them having control of my $12 million by February so they can buy property for a business with her lover. She manufactured the incidents, I say quietly. The repeated story about my college roommate that Daniel mentioned. She asked me about it twice deliberately, then told Daniel I was repeating myself. Classic gaslighting, Harold says, and brilliant in a sociopathic way. Create the evidence of decline yourself, then use it to prove incompetence. Marcus nods. I also found communication between Vanessa and a Dr. Stephen Morris, a psychiatrist who specializes in geriatric mental health evaluations. She inquired about his fees for a competency evaluation and asked how the process works. He quoted her $15,000 for a complete assessment. They were going to have me evaluated by a psychiatrist they hired, I say. Someone who would find exactly what they needed him to find. Most likely, Harold agrees. Though to be fair to Dr. Morris, I know him professionally and he's generally ethical. But the point is, they were moving forward with a full legal strategy. This wasn't just talk, this was active planning. I look at the email again. What do we do with this? Harold and Marcus exchange a look. Then Harold speaks carefully. Margaret, you have several options. First, you could confront Daniel directly with all this evidence. Demand that he cease any legal proceedings and cut ties with Vanessa. Second, you could file for a restraining order against both of them, citing attempted elder abuse and fraud. Third, you could report them to the police and to the Connecticut Bar Association, since Daniel is an attorney engaged in what could be considered fraudulent activity. Or, I sense there's more, or you could give Daniel one chance to choose, you or Vanessa and this scheme. The suggestion hangs in the air. Part of me wants to destroy them both, report them, humiliate them, make them pay for every lie and manipulation. But another part of me, the part that remembers holding Daniel as a baby, that part wants to save him from himself. If I give him a chance, how do I do it? Harold pulls out a clean legal pad. You invite him to dinner, alone. No Vanessa. You present him with all of this evidence. You explain that you know everything, and you give him 24 hours to make a choice. Divorce Vanessa and enter family therapy with you, or lose you completely. And I mean completely. Restraining order. Changing your will. Cutting all financial ties. Everything. That's brutal. So is trying to have your own mother declared incompetent to steal her money. He's right. But the thought of that conversation, of seeing Daniel's face when he realizes I know everything, makes me feel physically ill. What if he chooses Vanessa? Then you know where you stand, and you protect yourself and Oliver accordingly. Oliver. God, I haven't even thought about what this will do to him. If Daniel divorces Vanessa, what happens to Oliver's custody? That would be determined in divorce proceedings, Harold says. But given what we know about Vanessa's affair and her financial scheming, Daniel would likely get primary custody, especially with you supporting him financially through the divorce. Marcus clears his throat. There's one more thing you should know. I did some digging into Vanessa's background. Her parents, Roger and Linda Caldwell, filed for bankruptcy 8 years ago, lost everything in bad real estate investments. They're currently living in a rental in Florida on Social Security. Vanessa grew up wealthy, then watched it all disappear when she was in her 20s. So this is about more than just greed, I say slowly. It's about fear. Fear of losing everything like her parents did. Possibly, Marcus agrees. Doesn't excuse what she's doing, but it might explain the intensity of it. She's not just after money, she's after security, permanence, things she saw her own parents lose. I think about this, about Vanessa watching her parents' world collapse, about the desperation that might drive someone to such calculated cruelty. It doesn't make me forgive her, but it makes me understand the monster she's become. I want to give Daniel the chance, I say finally. One chance. But I want everything documented. I want Harold there as witness. And I want it recorded if that's legal in Connecticut. Connecticut is a one-party consent state, Harold confirms. As long as one person in the conversation knows it's being recorded, it's legal. So yes, we can record it. Then set it up. Invite Daniel to dinner at my house tomorrow night. Tell him I want to discuss family matters privately. Just the two of us. Marcus starts gathering his documents. I'll have the final report ready by this afternoon. Everything you need. Phone records, emails, financial documents, witness statements, all of it. After they leave, I sit alone in the conference room for a long time. Tomorrow night, I'll sit across from my son and show him proof that his wife is a liar, a manipulator, and a schemer. I'll show him that she's been having an affair, using him, and planning to steal from his mother. I'll ask him to choose between the woman he married and the woman who gave him life. And I have no idea which one he'll pick. But I'm about to find out. I pull out my phone and text Daniel from the number he thinks I've turned off. Daniel, I'd like to have dinner with you tomorrow night. Just the two of us. My house. 7 p.m. We need to talk. It's important. Please don't bring Vanessa. This is between you and me. The response comes within minutes. Of course, Mom. I'll be there. I've been worried about you. I stare at those words. I've been worried about you. Tomorrow night, he'll find out exactly how worried he should be. About himself. I spend all of Tuesday preparing for the dinner like I'm preparing for battle, which I suppose I am. I set the table in my formal dining room with the china Thomas and I received as wedding gifts 32 years ago, white porcelain with delicate gold trim. I remember unwrapping these plates with such joy, imagining all the family dinners we'd host over the years, never imagining one of those dinners would be like this. Harold arrives at 6:30 with recording equipment. Small, discreet devices that he places strategically around the dining room. He tests them twice to make sure everything is working. Are you sure you want to do this? He asks me for the third time. Once you show him everything, there's no going back. Your relationship will never be the same. It's already not the same, Harold. It hasn't been the same for years. I just didn't know it. He nods and squeezes my shoulder. I'll be in your study with the door closed. If you need me, just call out. I'll hear everything through the recordings, but I won't intervene unless you ask me to. Thank you. At 6:55, I see Daniel's car pull into the driveway. My heart is pounding so hard I feel lightheaded. I watch through the window as he gets out, straightens his tie, and walks toward the front door. He looks nervous. Good. He should be. I open the door before he can knock. He's wearing the navy suit I bought him for his 30th birthday, the one he always said made him feel successful. His hair is styled carefully. He's even wearing cologne, like he's trying to make a good impression. Like I'm a client he needs to charm rather than the mother who gave him life. Hi, Mom. He leans in to kiss my cheek. I let him, even though every fiber of my being wants to pull away. Hello, Daniel. Come in. He follows me to the dining room, and I see him take in the formal table setting. Wow, you went all out. What's the occasion? We're celebrating, I say, pouring him a glass of wine. Your birthday was cut short on Saturday. I thought we deserved a proper celebration. Just mother and son. He relaxes slightly. That's really nice, Mom, and I'm glad we're doing this. I've been worried about you since Saturday. That phone call the other night, you seemed really upset. Did I? I set down the wine bottle carefully. Or did I seem clear-headed and aware for the first time in a long while? Something flickers across his face. Uncertainty. Maybe fear. I don't know what you mean. Sit down, Daniel. We sit across from each other at the table where I've served him hundreds of meals over the course of his life. Birthday dinners and holiday feasts and ordinary Tuesday nights when it was just the three of us, before Thomas died, before Vanessa, before everything turned poisonous. I've prepared his favorite meal: roasted chicken with herbs, garlic mashed potatoes, green beans, almondine. He looks at his plate and smiles that warm smile that used to make my heart melt. You remembered. I remember everything, Daniel. That's one of the things I want to talk to you about tonight. I pull out a folder from beneath my napkin. A thick folder containing everything Marcus compiled, every email, every phone record, every witness statement. Daniel's eyes fix on it. What's that? This is the truth you and Vanessa have been hiding from me for months, maybe years. I open the folder and pull out the first document. Vanessa's email to Derek Shaw, the one about needing 2 more documented incidents before they can file. I slide it across the table. Daniel picks it up, and I watch the color drain from his face as he reads. "Where did you get this?" "I hired a private investigator. A very good one." "Keep reading." I slide more documents across. Phone records showing 200 calls between Vanessa and Robert Chen. Screenshots of Facebook posts where Vanessa describes my supposed cognitive decline to support groups. Photos of Vanessa and Derek entering hotels together. Financial projections for their construction business that requires $800,000 in startup capital. Daniel reads each one, and I watch him break apart piece by piece. His hands are shaking. His breathing gets faster. When he finally looks up at me, his eyes are wet. "Mom, I can explain." "Can you? Please, explain to me how you plan to have your own mother declared incompetent so your cheating wife could steal my money to start a business with her lover." It wasn't like that. I didn't know about Derek. I swear to God, I didn't know. But you knew about the rest. You knew Vanessa was calling Robert Chen. You knew they were preparing conservatorship documents. You knew she was spreading lies about my mental state to our family and friends. He's crying now, real tears streaming down his face. "She convinced me it was for your own good. She said you were declining and that we needed to protect you before someone took advantage of you. She said living alone in this big house wasn't safe anymore. She made it all sound so reasonable, like we were helping you. By lying to me? By manufacturing evidence of cognitive decline? By planning to trick me into signing documents at your birthday party? I told her I didn't want to do it that way." His voice cracks. "I told her we should just talk to you honestly, explain our concerns. But she said you'd never listen, that you'd be defensive and angry, that we had to do it for your own protection even if you didn't understand. And you believed her. I wanted to believe her, because the alternative was admitting that my wife was manipulating me, that she was lying, that she'd been lying for years." I pull out another document, the Facebook posts dating back 2 years. "She's been building this case for 2 years, Daniel. Long before there was any possible legitimate concern about my health. This wasn't about protecting me. This was about money, about control." He puts his head in his hands. "I know. I see that now. Looking at all of this, I see how calculated it was. But Mom, you have to understand, it happened so gradually. First, it was just comments about how big this house is for one person. Then, suggestions that maybe you should think about downsizing. Then, little observations about you repeating yourself or forgetting things. She was so consistent, so concerned, that I started to believe her. Even though you knew me, even though you knew I was perfectly sharp. I told myself I was too close to see it objectively, that Vanessa could see things I couldn't because she wasn't emotionally involved. She's not emotionally involved because she doesn't love me, Daniel. She never has. I was just an obstacle to her. An obstacle with $12 million that she needed to remove." He's sobbing now, shoulders shaking. "What have I done? Oh God, what have I done?" I want to comfort him. Every maternal instinct in my body is screaming at me to go to him, hold him, tell him it's okay. But I force myself to stay seated, to stay strong. You chose your wife over your mother. You chose money over integrity. You chose the easy path of believing lies over the hard path of seeing truth. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Sorry isn't enough, Daniel." He looks up at me, face blotchy and desperate. "What do you want me to do? I'll do anything to fix this. This is the moment, the turning point." I take a deep breath. "I want you to divorce Vanessa." The words hang in the air between us. Daniel stares at me like I've slapped him. "What?" "You heard me. I want you to file for divorce immediately. I want you to enter therapy, real therapy, to understand how you let yourself be manipulated like this. I want you to fight for primary custody of Oliver, and I will financially support that fight. And I want you to cut all ties with Robert Chen and anyone else who was involved in this scheme. Mom, I have a son with her. I have a life with her. You have a lie with her. Everything about your marriage is built on manipulation and deceit. She's been cheating on you for 8 months, Daniel. She doesn't love you. She loves your access to me and my money. I can't just throw away 8 years of marriage. She already threw it away. She threw it away when she started sleeping with Derek Shaw, when she started plotting to steal from your mother, when she manufactured evidence of my mental decline. The marriage is already over. You're just refusing to see it. He's shaking his head, backing away from the table like he can physically escape this conversation. This is too much. This is all too much. I stand up, and my voice gets harder. Then let me make it simpler for you. You have a choice to make right now. Tonight. You choose me, or you choose Vanessa. You choose truth and family, and working to rebuild what you've destroyed, or you choose lies and money and a woman who's using you. That's not fair. You can't make me choose like that. Life isn't fair, Daniel. I learned that when your father died and left me alone at 52 to figure out how to keep living. You're learning it now. Choose. And if I choose Vanessa? The question feels like a knife in my chest, but I keep my voice steady. Then Harold comes out of the study, where he's been listening to every word of this conversation. He serves you with a restraining order prohibiting you from contacting me or coming within 500 feet of me or this property. I file a report with the police and with the Connecticut Bar Association about your involvement in this scheme. I change my will to leave everything to charity, except for a trust fund for Oliver that neither you nor Vanessa can touch, and you never speak to me again for as long as I live. His face goes white. You'd really do that? You'd cut me off completely? To protect myself from someone trying to steal my autonomy and my assets? Absolutely. Even if that someone is my son. What about Oliver? Oliver will be protected. I'll fight for his custody rights and his financial future. But you'll have to explain to him why his father chose a lying, cheating manipulator over his grandmother who's only ever loved him. Daniel is pacing now, pulling at his hair. I need time to think. You have 24 hours. That's it. Come back here tomorrow night at 7 p.m. with divorce papers filed, or don't come back at all. Mom, please. You're asking me to blow up my entire life. Your life is already blown up. Vanessa did that when she started screwing her business partner and plotting to steal from me. I'm just asking you to stop living in denial and face reality. I have to talk to her. I have to hear her side. Her side? I laugh, and it sounds bitter even to my own ears. Her side is in those documents. 200 phone calls to an elder law attorney, emails about securing construction loans with my money, Facebook posts describing cognitive decline that doesn't exist. What exactly do you think she's going to say that will explain all of that? I don't know, but she's my wife. I owe her a conversation. You owe me loyalty. You owe me honesty. You owe me basic human decency after everything I've done for you. But sure, go talk to Vanessa. Listen to her twist everything around, make herself the victim, convince you that I'm the problem. That's what she does best. Daniel grabs his coat from the back of his chair. I can't do this right now. I need to go. 24 hours, Daniel. 7 p.m. tomorrow. Make your choice. He's at the door when he turns back. Do you still love me? The question breaks something inside me. I will always love you. You're my son. But love doesn't mean accepting abuse. Love doesn't mean letting you destroy me to appease your wife. So yes, I love you. But I also love myself enough to protect myself from you if I have to. He leaves without another word. I hear his car start, hear the gravel crunch as he drives away. Then silence. Harold emerges from the study. You okay? No, but I will be. You were very strong. I didn't feel strong. I felt like my heart was being ripped out. That's what strength looks like sometimes. Doing the hard thing when everything in you wants to take the easy path. I start clearing the table. The dinner neither of us touched, the wine glasses still full. All this preparation for a meal we never ate. What do you think he'll do? I ask. Harold helps me carry dishes to the kitchen. Honestly? I don't know. He's weak, Margaret. Vanessa has had years to shape him into what she needs. But he's also fundamentally decent under all that manipulation. The question is whether the decent part is strong enough to break free. And if it's not, then you follow through on everything you said. Restraining order, police report, bar association complaint will change. All of it. Even if it destroys him. He's already destroyed, Margaret. Whether he rebuilds himself or not is his choice. Not yours. I know Harold is right, but that doesn't make it hurt any less. That night, I don't sleep at all. I lie in bed staring at the ceiling, playing the conversation over and over. Did I say the right things? Was I too harsh? Not harsh enough? Should I have given him more time? But I know the answer. I gave him exactly what he needed. A clear choice. A hard deadline. No room for excuses or manipulation or delay. Now I just have to wait and see if my son still exists underneath the man Vanessa created. At 3 a.m., my phone buzzes. A text from Daniel. I went home and confronted Vanessa with everything. She denied it all. Said you fabricated the evidence. Said you're having a mental breakdown and imagining conspiracies. Then when I showed her the photos of her with Derek, she said it was just business meetings. She's still lying even when caught. I'm sleeping in the guest room tonight. I don't know what to do. I stare at the text for a long time before responding. You know what to do, Daniel. You've always known. The question is whether you're brave enough to do it. I love you. But I meant every word I said tonight. 24 hours. His response comes immediately. I know. I'm scared, Mom. So am I. But we can be scared together if you choose the right path. Or you can be scared alone if you choose wrong. Your decision. No response after that. I turn off my phone and try to sleep. Tomorrow night I'll find out if I still have a son, or if Vanessa Thornwood has won. Wednesday passes in agonizing slowness. Every hour feels like a day. Every minute stretches into eternity. I try to distract myself with normal activities. I go for my morning run, but my mind isn't on the path. I attempt to read, but the words blur together. I call Oliver on his secret phone just to hear his voice. How are you, sweetheart? Okay. Dad didn't come home last night. Mom said he had to work late, but I heard them fighting before he left. Is everything okay, Grandma? My heart breaks for him. This innocent child caught in the middle of adult dysfunction and betrayal. Everything is going to be okay. I promise you that. Your dad and I had a very important conversation last night, and now he has to make some decisions. But no matter what happens, you and I are going to be fine. Can I come stay with you? Soon, honey. Very soon. I love you so much. I love you too. Harold calls at 2 p.m. I have the restraining order drafted and ready to file if needed. I also prepared the complaint for the Bar Association and the police report. Everything is ready to go at a moment's notice. Thank you, Harold. Margaret, whatever happens tonight, you did the right thing. You gave him a chance. That's more than most people would do. He's my son. I know. That's what makes this so hard, but also what makes it so important. At 5 p.m., I start preparing. I shower and dress carefully in a simple black cashmere sweater and gray slacks. Nothing too formal, nothing too casual. I want to look strong but approachable. I put on the pearl earrings Thomas gave me on our last anniversary together. For luck. For strength. For the memory of a man who would have known exactly what to say right now. 6:30. I'm sitting in the living room, hands folded in my lap, watching the clock. Harold offered to come back, but I said no. This needs to be just Daniel and me. Whatever he decides, we need to face it alone. 6:45. My phone buzzes. A text from Daniel. I'm on my way, alone. My heart starts racing. Alone. That's good, right? Or does it just mean he's coming to tell me his decision to choose Vanessa? 7 p.m. exactly. I hear his car in the driveway. I don't go to the door this time. I wait in the living room, hands still folded, trying to appear calm, even though I feel like I might shatter into pieces. The doorbell rings. I take a deep breath and stand up, walk to the door, open it. Daniel is standing there in jeans and a wrinkled button-down shirt. He looks like he hasn't slept. His eyes are red and swollen. He's holding a manila envelope in his hands. Hi, Mom. Hello, Daniel. Come in. We walk to the living room in silence. He sits on the sofa where he used to sit as a teenager, watching TV after school, telling me about his day. I sit in the chair across from him, the same positions we were in 1,000 times before. But everything is different now. I filed for divorce this morning, he says quietly. The relief that floods through me is so powerful, I almost can't breathe. But I keep my expression neutral. Tell me what happened. After I texted you last night, I couldn't sleep. I just lay there in the guest room thinking about everything. About the past 3 years and all the ways Vanessa isolated me from you. All the comments and suggestions that seemed caring but were actually manipulation. I thought about Dad and what he would say if he could see what I'd become. His voice breaks. He takes a moment to compose himself. This morning, Vanessa came into the guest room acting like nothing was wrong. Started talking about her day, asking what I wanted for dinner, completely ignoring everything from the night before. Like if she just pretended hard enough, reality would reshape itself to what she wanted. That's what narcissists do, I say quietly. I told her I was filing for divorce. She laughed, actually laughed, said I was being dramatic and emotional, and that I'd calm down once I thought about it rationally. Then when she realized I was serious, she got angry. Told me I was throwing away our family, that Oliver would hate me, that I was choosing my controlling mother over my wife. And what did you say? I said I was choosing truth over lies, integrity over manipulation, that I was choosing to be the man my father raised me to be instead of the puppet she'd turned me into. He wipes his eyes. She threatened to take Oliver and disappear, said she'd tell everyone I was abusive, that she'd make sure I never saw my son again. My hands clench. She can't do that. I know. My lawyer said with the evidence of her affair and the conspiracy against you, I'll almost certainly get primary custody. But Mom, she's going to make this ugly. She's going to fight with everything she has. Let her fight. We have the truth, we have documentation, and we have resources. Daniel nods slowly. I called Robert Chen this morning and told him our attorney-client relationship was terminated. He tried to convince me I was making a mistake, that I should think about my future and my son's financial security. I told him if he ever contacts me again, I'll report him to the Bar Association for his role in this scheme. Good. I also called your sister-in-law, Patricia, and your cousin, Ellen. Told them that Vanessa had been lying about your mental state and that I was ashamed I'd participated in spreading those lies. Asked them to disregard anything negative they'd heard about you. Thank you. He hands me the manila envelope. This is a copy of the divorce filing. I'm asking for primary custody with supervised visitation for Vanessa until the affair and conspiracy issues are resolved. My lawyer says it's a strong case. I open the envelope and scan the documents. They're thorough, detailed. They cite the affair, the financial conspiracy, the manufactured evidence of my cognitive decline. Everything. Where's Oliver now? With my lawyer's wife. She's a child psychologist. I didn't want him at home while Vanessa was packing her things. She's moving to Derek's apartment temporarily. How is Oliver handling this? He's confused and scared, but also relieved, I think. He's been carrying so much stress, watching his mother manipulate me, knowing what she was planning to do to you. The psychologist said he's going to need therapy. We all are. I set down the envelope and look at my son. Really look at him. He's broken right now, shattered. But underneath the brokenness, I see something I haven't seen in years. Honesty, clarity, the boy I raised. I'm proud of you, Daniel. He starts crying again. How can you be proud of me? I almost destroyed you. I almost let her steal your independence, your money, everything you worked for. But you didn't. When it mattered most, when you had to make the hardest choice of your life, you chose right. That takes courage. I should have chosen right years ago. I should have seen what she was doing. Maybe. But you see it now, and you're fixing it. That's what matters. He moves from the sofa to kneel in front of my chair, taking my hands in his. I'm so sorry, Mom, for everything. For the distance, for the lies, for letting her turn me into someone I don't recognize, for planning to hurt you. I don't know if I can ever make this right. I cup his face in my hands the way I did when he was small. You already started making it right by filing those papers this morning. But Daniel, this is going to be hard. Divorce is hard. Co-parenting with someone like Vanessa is going to be a nightmare. Rebuilding our relationship will take time. This isn't a movie where everything is fixed with one conversation. I know, but I want to do the work. I want to earn back your trust. Then you will. One day at a time. Starting with therapy. I want you to find a good therapist who specializes in manipulation and emotional abuse. And I want us to do family therapy together. Okay, whatever you want. And Daniel, the money I gave you, the $300,000 for the practice, the $450 for the house, those were gifts from a mother who loved her son. I'm not taking them back, but I am changing my will to protect Oliver's inheritance, a trust fund that neither you nor Vanessa can touch until he's 25. That's fair. That's more than fair. And one more thing. You need to rebuild a relationship with Oliver that's honest and healthy. He saved me, Daniel. Your 11-year-old son showed more courage and integrity than his own father. You need to understand what that means and be the parent he deserves. I will. I promise. We sit there for a long moment, my son kneeling at my feet, both of us crying. It's not a happy ending. There's too much pain, too much damage, too much that needs to be repaired. But it's a beginning, a chance to rebuild something real from the ashes of what was destroyed. 3 months later, I'm sitting in my backyard watching Oliver play chess against Daniel. It's a Saturday afternoon, cool and crisp, the kind of autumn day Connecticut does perfectly. Oliver is staying with me for the weekend, as he does every weekend now. Daniel visits for a few hours each day, and we're slowly, carefully rebuilding trust. The divorce is moving forward. Vanessa is fighting, of course, making wild accusations and demanding more money. But with the evidence we have, her lawyer has advised her to settle. Derek Shaw apparently ended their relationship when he realized the money wasn't coming. Last I heard, Vanessa was working as a designer for someone else's firm, living in a modest apartment, seeing Oliver every other Wednesday and Sunday afternoon under supervision. Daniel is in therapy twice a week. We do family therapy together once a week. It's painful and exhausting, but he's doing the work, actually examining how he let himself be manipulated, how he prioritized comfort over truth, how he almost destroyed the people he loves most. Oliver is thriving. His grades have improved. His therapist says he's processing the divorce in a healthy way. And he still looks at me with those serious green eyes and tells me I'm the bravest person he knows. I changed my will as promised. Oliver gets $4 million in a trust fund at 25. Daniel gets $2 million unconditionally because he chose right when it mattered. The rest goes to educational charities for women in Thomas's name. I also started a foundation to help other elderly people protect themselves from financial exploitation by family members, because I know my story isn't unique. I was just lucky enough to have a grandson brave enough to warn me and resources enough to fight back. My phone buzzes. A text from Harold. Vanessa's lawyer called. She's ready to settle. Wants to finalize terms next week. I text back. Good. Let's end this. Daniel looks up from the chessboard and catches my eye. Everything okay, Mom? Everything's fine, sweetheart. Everything's going to be just fine. And for the first time in months, maybe years, I actually believe it. I didn't just survive this. I won. Not because I destroyed my enemies or got revenge, though Vanessa certainly got what she deserved. I won because I stood up for myself. Because I protected my autonomy and my assets and my grandson. Because I gave my son a chance to choose integrity over manipulation, and he took it. I built my business from nothing. I survived losing my husband. And I survived my own family trying to betray me. I am Margaret Thornwood, and I am stronger than anyone who tries to break me. Oliver moves his knight and grins at his father. Checkmate in 3 moves. Daniel studies the board and laughs. How did I not see that coming? Grandma taught me that pattern. She says the best moves are the ones people don't see coming until it's too late. I smile and sip my tea, watching my grandson and my son together, rebuilding, healing, becoming who they're meant to be. The best moves really are the ones people don't see coming. And I'm very, very good at chess.